What random marriage advice sounded absurd, but was actually spot on helpful? Dad said be kind, even if you're not feeling it. Maybe especially if you're not feeling it. I'm not married but honestly this. When I'm upset with my BF I tell him I love him. It takes the edge of the frustration/anger, and we manage to discuss the issue instead of argue. I'm mad right now, but I'm not going anywhere. Apostrophe. When I had my son I read a parenting book that said you should tell your child you're angry at what they did/said not them. I've honestly implemented that advice in so many relationships in my life and it definitely helps. Yes, when running a classroom as well. The idea is that the behavior is bad, or the person made a bad choice, but the person isn't bad. At my wedding my wife's grandmother offered so funny, weird, solid advice. She said, if you get angry with each other, go to bed naked and see if you can resolve it before you go to sleep. So far, so good. Anniversary on Monday, when I have to talk to my partner about some heavy S and have time and ability, I will bring it up when we are in the bedroom and I'm completely nude. Optics. I've actually read before to never fight in the bedroom because it will cause the people in the relationship to associate the bedroom with fights and could minimize on how comfortable they feel there when it comes time to do other stuff, even if that other stuff is simply sleeping. The advice I've given people is this: if you can go grocery shopping with your person and have the best time ever, you have yourself a keeper. It's all about making the best of the mundane things, because after years of being together, life becomes predictable. You'll need to keep the spice going, regardless of what you're doing. Source: married 15 years. My wife rolls her eyes when I say hey, what flavor Tide Pod should we get? Next time ask her if she wants regular, creamy, or al dente Tide Pods. How do you cook your Tide Pods? Just regular, I guess. My grandfather told me never go to bed with dirty dishes in the sink. What I learned is that he would always help my grandmarinators when they did their most talking. And it really is the small mundane things that you do for each other, not the bug romantic gestures, that really build a strong marriage. Do the dishes, vacuum or mop the floor when you have some time, clean out and armor all their car. Small dumb things, all the time. I like to tell people love isn't how willing you are to die for them, but how willing you are to be mildly inconvenienced by them. Apostrophe. Damn, that is perfection. You have a very low bar for perfection, which probably means you'll have pretty successful relationships. Focus on tackling the problem, not each other. This is a good one. My Phil said something similar on our wedding day. Always remember it's you two against the problem, not you two against each other. It's great advice, especially when we disagree. It's calmed a lot of arguments over the years. Two brains are better than one. Well, they do say that great minds think alike, and I guess the same is also true of mediocre minds. Whenever my mates and I gel on something we just go mediocre minds now, and that makes us laugh. Great minds think alike and fools rarely differ. When our kid was about to be born, someone told me to change the first diaper. If you can handle the first one, the others will be easy. So I did. I didn't know what I was doing, so I asked the nurse at the hospital to teach me, and I changed the first few diapers while my wife recovered from a difficult labor. The advice was correct. No other diaper was as disgusting as the first one. It got very easy, and I never minded doing it, and my wife was really grateful, and I loved that I could take on some of the parenting chores, since there was so much that she was the only one equipped to provide. I got to be quite proud of my diaper changing skills. Rip, wipe, wrap, I could do it in a matter of seconds, unless it was a pretty spectacular poop. I always pictured myself in the pits at an ASCA race. Hell, I'd offer to change other people's babies, just so I could show off. This may be the funnest thing I've ever read, because I was doing the same thing. I was particularly proud of being able to change one in my lap while holding the other. XD. Marriage is the act of solving as a team problems you didn't have before. To build on this, any problems you have in your dating relationship will be magnified by marriage. Bad with money? Now there's two of you. Worried about infidelity? Marriage is just going to legally bind you to that person. Now you're getting cheated on, and they are going to take half your stuff to get rid of them. Sort your mess out while dating. If you can't figure it out, then being contractual bound to another person isn't going to fix it. No shame in waiting. It's better to say finally than to worry that you're rushing into something. My wife and I surprise eloped on our 10-year anniversary, and it was awesome. And it gave us a long time to work on any issues we had. Don't have too high of expectations. My dad told us that, but we found most of our early fights were when one or the other had unspoken expectations of the other or marriage. It is positively life-changing to be married, and an amazing experience. But still, life goes on. Unspoken is the key word here. People have different needs and expectations, and your partner is not a mind reader. There are certain words, certain tone of voice, etc. that you can use on your children, a friend, a subordinate, or even your boss, but which you just shouldn't use on your spouse. Could you expand? I'll give a different example. Right now I'm a teacher. There's a certain way you can speak to children. You exert your authority over them and tell them to do things very frequently. It's very normal because it's an expected hierarchy. Teachers tell students what to do. You don't always do it, but it's very acceptable to do it. You have authority because you're supposed to know better. However, if a teacher ever uses their teacher voice on another teacher, they'd seriously annoy them. It's demeaning and insulting, even though it's not intended as such when dealing with a student. You're treating a teacher as a child, and it's very hard to not feel hurt. Grandma said love is like coffee. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's bitter. No matter how you like it, it is good. But it's only great when you get it the way you like it. Make sure you get what you want. Done. I drink tea. There are parades for that kind of thing now. As Rita Rudner said about changing your so that pie's baked. If you want a different flavor, get a different pie. Rita has a ton of these truisms that hit home, nearly all involving men and marriage. Another one, men don't live well by themselves. They don't even live like people. They live like bears with furniture. As a bachelor, can confirm. My grandmother said, have sex often and loudly, but remember to go easy on her. She's over 80. She also said, when my 12-year-old cousin asked her how often her and Poppy had sex, it goes down with the coffin, dear. Grandpa may be horny, but I think that's leaving it a bit late to be going down. A couple of years ago we discovered Grandpa was addicted to Viagra. Grandma was taking it very hard. Don't trust everything here. Op says king bed stops children feet to the face. Can confirm. He's wrong there, because my kid still does 360 roundhouse kickflips in his sleep in our king bed, and I still get the occasional foot to the face. Marry him for who he is, not his potential, and let them be the person you love. I have to remind myself of this. I love and trust who he is. So why am I trying to make him more like me sometimes? He'll learn and grow, and so will I. I have to trust that he can do that without my pushing or prodding. All of this. I have my frustrations with my husband. Some due to his habits and mild ab tendencies. I don't really want him to try medications though, because that would change him and his normal self from who I love. And B, he tried meds when he was younger, and they didn't have good effects. Instead, I just try to get him to work on having better habits, putting stuff away mostly lol, and remind myself that I married him as he is, and neither of us is perfect. He has his little annoyances with me too. He is just less vocal about them. Also working on that cause I want to know when I annoy him, so I can work on that too. Our imperfections make us who we are. Without them, we would be boring. And different interests keep things lively too. If we only talked to each other all the time, it would get dull eventually. Having separate interests means we talk with other people, work on different projects, then come together and talk about what we are doing. My stepmom just passed away, and Dad said something that has profoundly changed my attitude. The little things that annoyed me are the things I now miss. Oh, like, yay. For some reason she squeezes a massive glob of toothpaste which mostly falls into the sink basin and she doesn't wash away the toothpaste spit. F annoys me. If/when she's gone. That little constant annoyance that reminds me she's there will be gone too. Don't nag on the little things. Rather, embrace them. Still, let her know. She has made progress on other things I've pointed out, as I try to adapt to her wishes. Can vouch. After my wife lost all of her hair due to the treatments, I never saw those beautiful, long, brown hairs that clumped in the shower again. I miss those clumps of hair. And her. Always act like it's the last time you'll see them. Cause it might be. My mother passed last year at 45 from her second bout with cancer. Middle of the night. My dad said he's glad he stayed up later to spend a few more minutes with her. To tell her he loved her. You never know when you'll never see them again. Also, pride doesn't belong in your marriage. If you have any self-pride, leave it at the door. Both you and your partner serve each other and support each other, each putting the other first, and accept that they are giving it their all, even if their all isn't what it was last month. Dude, I came here to get some tips for the future, not cry. Reality is fucking rough over here, but I would be dead without my wife. We live by 3 rules. Never go to bed angry, always cuddle, put each other first, and always listen. Works for us really well. You don't just marry her, you marry her whole damn family. So much this. Before I met my wife, I was in a relationship with, and engaged to, a girl from Argentina, whose family may have had ties to certain villainous organizations from WW2. This was problematic, because I'm a nice Jewish boy, never got along with her folks, and had gotten married. It probably would have ended in disaster. After we broke up, I met my wife. Her parents, even though they drive me nuts sometimes, are awesome. They get me, I get them. We see eye to eye on most things, including religion and politics, and in a lot of ways I'm closer with my father-in-law than I'm with my own father. Having them as in-laws has been excellent, and it's made my life much easier. Point being, you abso-fucking-lutely marry the family as well. So choose your in-laws wisely. You bring up an excellent point that everyone should keep in mind. You're not going to find the perfect in-laws. You just need to find the in-laws you can stand to be around. Lol. Also, Nazis are bad for your health. Everyone gets their own sheets when you sleep. Yep. King size bed, and we each have our own queen comforter / duvet. No blanket hogging, and allows us to have different temps. It really depends on people though. I was this way with my ex-BF, because he kept stealing my blanket. Even with 2 blankets, he would sleep on his one and cover himself with mine, and throw his pillow off bed and steal mine. I already get frustrated thinking back to it, and he was never into cuddling. Me and my husband, however, share one big blanket. I have never been happier when sleeping. I'm always cold, so he keeps me warm. We are both super into cuddling. 3 years later we still wrap our hands around each other when falling asleep, and stay cuddled in one way or another for the whole night. When sleeping away from home, we nicely fit under one single person blanket as well. However, it does give less room for changing position at night. But even then, I have never been left without cover at night. It's just tight fit. Your boyfriend needed a zipped up sleeping bag with a pillow sewn on. Say thank you for day-to-day things. Even taking out the trash, sweeping the floor, or folding laundry. Audibly hearing thank you reinforces the feeling of being appreciated. Mine is almost the exact opposite. My husband snores really loud. I started sleeping separately, and we have a much better relationship now. Probably because I'm not constantly sleep deprived. We both fought it so hard for so long, because there is this idea that only unhappy couples sleep apart from each other. The truth is, you've got to do what works for the both of you, and not worry about preconceived notions about intimacy, etc. Same. My husband has multiple sleep disorders and I'm a very light sleeper. It's a horrible mix. If the one time we don't get along is when we are both unconscious, I take it as a win. Moma said, don't come whining to me about your wife. Go talk to her. And don't spend your time complaining to anyone about your so. If you need advice, ask. But no talking down about your so. Chances are they have a long list of complaints too. Sage advice. When an argument is brewing, stop and eat something. You may just be hungry. We go by halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. This is one I developed myself about 10 years ago. Don't forget to breathe. Your relationship was founded on your individuality. If you are not taking time to be yourselves as individuals, you are not maintaining yourselves and eroding the foundation of your relationship and your life. There is a reason most employers provide vacation. Time to get away from the grindstone. Reset, recharge, and breathe. Same thing for your relationships. When you are together, you are a couple. When you are with the kids, you are parents. At work, you are working. There is a reason things like guys/girls night, man caves, and craft rooms exist. To take time apart, build individually, and appreciate your time together more. This is true of all relationships. Romantic, parental, vocational, and personal. If you're not breathing, you're not doing much. Intimacy isn't about sex. Wish I could double upvote this. After having a baby, you will fight and argue a lot. You will both be exhausted from lack of sleep, and that causes high emotions. It won't last. Be aware it's coming. Do the best you can to work together. Don't criticize each other's driving. It leads down a dark path. My wife has the perfect rebuttal to any criticism I could ever make about her driving. I'm the one who taught her how to drive. Luckily, I've been smart enough to never give her a reason to use it. Grab each other's butts as often as possible. Keep the flirtation alive. 100% keep the flirtation alive. But don't be afraid to spice it up. A face caress, a head put, a ref nose boop, a quick maquillage sesh. You get the idea. Sometimes even a shoulder squeeze makes me feel really warm and fuzzy inside. Before I was married, I had an irregular heartbeat due to single guy life choices. Doctor prescribed meds for it, but told me the best option is to get married. Now I'm married. Regular sleeping schedule, eat healthy meals at home, drink less, lost weight, and no more heart problem. In other words, she healed your heart? So if I tell a woman that only the love of a good woman can heal my wounded heart, it would literally be true. That's not what I expected. I got to king beds pushed together. Mega bed. I got a very bad back, and I'm 6'8", so I need my space when I sleep. You guys sleep in the living room? Jesus, your bedroom must be massive.